Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. I'm your host, Nico, and joins me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How's it going, Chris?
Not too bad. How are you? Excited for our award show?
That's right. Welcome back, everybody. But this is going to be a different episode here today. This is the 4th annual Comic Shop Talk Awards, guys. That's right. Today we're going to be highlighting some of our favorite and not so favorite books in a variety of different categories. We're giving out awards here today for the year of 2025 for all of comics. So welcome back. Welcome back, everybody, once again to another great annual Comic Shop Talk Awards episode. All right, so this is how it works. We're going to go through a bunch of different categories, and me and Chris will go back and forth, and it'll give us a chance to highlight some of our, favorite things that came out this year. And as I mentioned, there's also a few categories for things that, books we didn't like, artists we didn't like, writers, etc. Just to kind of give you a good snapshot of some of the things that we talked about this year. These are always great shows to kind of catch up on what's been happening in comics if you're behind. So, do us a favor, check it out. Leave us a comment, hit that like button, that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If this is your first time checking us out, we are a weekly comic book review show. And usually every week we come here and we talk about the week's comic releases that we've read. Now, we usually put this episode out every year between Christmas and New Year's, and we double up on the weeks when we get back for the Christmas and New Year's week, because usually 1 week is usually small around the holidays, which is happening once again this year. So check us back out in the new year, guys. We'll be back with, I think it's like episode 211 of Comic Shop Talk. And that'll be we're going to be talking about December 24th and December 31st comic book release dates. Basically the last 2 weeks of 2025 we'll be talking about early in the new year. But without further ado, we can jump into this, these categories here and start going through the giving out the awards here, Chris. Me and Chris obviously dressed for the occasion here. That's right. Maybe we'll give ourselves a little bit of drum roll here, Chris. lead us into to the categories here. But once again, Chris, as always, you got to hit us with that your slogan there.
Okay, all right. Let's talk comics.
Talk some comics. Cheers.
Dude.
Here's to 2025. We hope you guys all had a good holiday out there, good holidays, good Christmas, and Happy New Year. We are recording this in between Christmas and New Year. So, yeah, we hope to see you guys back in the new year and we get into another great week of comics. All right, here we go. Without further ado, our first category here today, our first award we'll be giving out, we'll be flipping back and forth between me and Chris. Favorite cover of the year. Favorite cover of the year is our first award we're giving out.
Starting out with a big one here.
Yeah, we are. This is a tough one, and I feel like every year I say I'm going to start like recording like more of the covers I enjoyed throughout the year. And of course, I didn't have a lot of them accessible, so I was going off of memory. I was looking through some of the stuff I had close to me. But there's a lot of covers, like once I get them, that I just bag them and I put them away, like certain ones, right, that I get like multiple covers of. So I got to tell you, there's definitely a lot of covers that could have won this category for me, that I couldn't come up with. Definitely a lot of like even more cheesecake specific ones, like great artists on covers this year. But I'm basically going to award this to an artist themselves here for favorite cover artist, let's say, of the year for me for this one. Dan Panosian did some great covers as well this year. I want to give a special shout out to him. There was a variety of really good like X-Men covers by different artists I really like. Probably the best thing about the X-Men books this year from a lot of different artists. But you know what? I got to give it up to Daniel Warren Johnson for his covers this year. I think Daniel Warren Johnson has the most dynamic covers in comics right now, between like all of like the DCKO ones that he's been doing with all like the wrestling moves and people beating the shit out of each other. I even showed one a couple weeks ago that was the X-Men of Apocalypse one, where he's got Wolverine putting a claw through Cyclops' eye. I have a couple other covers of his right here. Absolute Batman. He did this one here. He also did. Where is the other one? I got another one handy here that he did. Even this one more recently, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He did this cover recently. So I think he's just been really killing it on covers this year. So I want to give a shout out to him. Although my favorite cover that he did this year, and this is the award I'm giving it out to, but I did want to highlight him just like as a whole. It's Wolverine 400, the variant cover that he did for Wolverine 400. Chris, why don't you get going on yours here, and I'm going to bring that up on the screen for people to take a look at that. But why don't you get into yours?
Well, I got the same idea. There's a lot of great cover artists out there, and I think another standout for me was Ivan Talavera. He's come out with some great covers, and also Pablo Villalobos. His covers are always bangers. J. Scott Campbell had a nice run of some variant covers, and there was also that Streetverse run with was that Inyuk Lee. I collected a lot of those.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it was this year that Alex Ross put out another set. I don't know if that was earlier in the year.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
those are always bangers too. And but the cover I went, well, I don't know if you want to show off the cover that you chose there.
Here it is.
Daniel Warren Johnson. If I had that did cross my mind as one of the best covers of
this one right here. I don't know if I can. There we go. Hold on. I don't know if it's coming up on the screen there. Yeah, it's that one right there. Do yourselves a favor, because I can't put it like for a bigger image here for you guys at the moment, but actually, hold on.
Never can see it. And that was a sleeper cover too.
Yeah, I remember telling somebody about that before it came out, and he did sleep on it. And then when it actually came out, he was kind of like disappointed because he didn't actually end up getting it. Because I was trying to tell him, I'm like, you got to check out this Daniel Warren Johnson guy, because he wasn't familiar with his stuff, right? Yeah. But there you go. Yeah, that's the cover there. I mean, this is like the art of it, I believe, the original art, but it had basically had the words Wolverine behind it. But it was this image with like the Japan Wolverine with like a bunch of arrows in him. Just a great striking cover that as soon as it came out, it was like it was very sought after. Everyone was trying to pick that one up. It's like one of the many moments this year that he had a book that came out, including Batman, the annual, Absolute Batman Annual, where everyone was trying to scoop up a book that he was a part of or that he did a cover for. They're even putting out another print of the Absolute Batman book with an alternate Daniel Warren Johnson cover that's coming out now that I've also ordered. So like he's had a really great year for covers. I mean, I've always loved his art, but I think now he's getting a name for himself in terms of like, even because he didn't do as many interiors this year, but he did a great round of covers. I mean, he's doing all those DCKO variants, great stuff. So yeah, but what was yours, Chris?
Well, mine, I went for the more cheesecakey. I went more of a classic cover artist, the Adam Hughes for the Rogue Savage Land, and honorable mention to Carrie Andrews too for I think he had a run of covers for that, and those were all bangers. And but that's the one that's the one that kind of stood out to me in my mind.
Yeah, no, that was a great one too. I actually have that. I have that in my display of covers here on my side here as well. And that was one of the Villalobos Magic ones that I believe came out this year. And I also have that Adam Hughes one. Ivan Talavera. I think this is an Ivan Talavera right here for Rogue. Savage Land had some great covers. Yeah, I mean, that's a Lucas Wernick one. So yeah, there was a lot of, that's why when I was talking about the X-Women books, or the X-Men books with covers, that's what I was looking at when I mentioned that, because there was a lot of really great ones there. So yeah, great one. Adam, he was always a banger. Also, another great one he just put out was the Catwoman homage that he just did for the Black Cat one, right? Which was another very popular cover that came out last week, I believe, we talked about on the show. So, all right, nice pick. All right, Chris. So you're starting off this next category here with your favorite publisher of the year. Favorite publisher.
Oof, this is the tough one. My favorite publishers always and always will be Marvel, but you got to give it to DC this year. They kicked ass. Marvel's, like, I don't know, they're struggling to catch up, and I can't see anything that they got going on, unless this that Armageddon event comes up and is just absolutely bonkers. I can't see anything they have that's going on with what DC was up to this year. That absolute universe just it just blew everything out of the water. I'm enjoying this DCKO stuff, a resurgence of Superman. I've been enjoying Wonder Woman. Batman, it's not my favorite, but I have Jorge Jimenez on there and Matt Fraction. I'm sure, once that comic starts going, I know you've enjoyed Detective Comics.
Yeah.
They've a lot of the stuff that was kind of just, very mid it's now good stuff. And there's other stuff that I'm not reading. I hear a lot of good stuff about Aquaman. I think Green Lantern's doing well too, from what I understand. So what can you say? It has to be DC.
I can't argue with you there. As we go through the categories too, I've tried to make a note. There's going to be some runner-ups or honorable mentions I'll mention along the way. It was neck and neck for me, and I like how you started this out by saying Marvel is always going to be your favorite company, as it will be mine as well usually. But you're right; they're kind of in the bit of a downswing right now at the moment, where they're just like, yeah, they're not. This has been a rough year, I feel like, for Marvel. Even looking over some of the categories here this year, as I was looking through the books, not their best year. Which pains me to say, but that's okay. I mean, it all goes back around, right? I definitely think DC had a way better output this year, and DC is my runner-up, though. I almost gave it to DC, but I went with Image, because Image, for me, in terms of at least the things that I read from them, I do definitely cherry pick a bunch of books that I check out from them. I don't try out everything, but the level of consistency from Image, for me, I mean, even sometimes when we've come and talked about the books that came out on any given week out here on the show, there's some weeks that were very Image heavy, and we were giving out some of the best ratings of the show on those books specifically, just because, they have the same artists consistently on their books. A lot of the best writers have gone over there to write their own creator-owned titles. You got, just to name a few here, Geiger, Hyde Street, like all of the
like my Image pull list has been just steadily growing.
Yeah, all the Ghost Machine books. You got all the Energon Universe books. You got all like the Remender stuff that he's doing. Battle Beast was great. Skinbreaker. The list just goes on. I mean, these are just things like I kind of jotted down or I have in front of me. So I got to give it. If more issues came out this year, Drawing Blood was a great series. I got to give it up to Image, but DC is right there. Like that's why I got to spread the love around. I'm glad you picked DC, because I was definitely going to pick DC. And then I was like, you know what? Just looking at the things I've been reading, I'm like, I buy more Image, I feel like, even like in terms of like the stuff that I pick up. But DC definitely outshined Marvel this year. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And so good pick. Yeah. I give it up to Image for me for the Lion Award this year. All right. So next up we got favorite new series. So this is basically, a series that came out within the last like 3 months or so. I kind of gave it around there. Maybe a newer book that's come out. It could have even only had one issue so far that we have high hopes for in the new year. And you know what? I got to give it up to one I even just mentioned there a moment ago, from Image Comics, and I'm gonna give this one up to Skinbreaker. Where's my issue of that? I mean, nice. The art is amazing on this. It's a pretty simple story, but I got to tell you, every issue that comes out, I'm starting to care more and more about this world and these characters. It always leaves me wanting more, and it's honestly the best art I've seen out of David Finch's career. I mean, he's been working on it for like 7 years, so it better be. But this was a nice surprise. I didn't know this was going to come out this year. I didn't hear that he was working on this. I didn't know Kirkman, as always. I feel like his books come out of nowhere that he announces and they're just out there all of a sudden. This has been a nice surprise. I've really liked this book, and I like kind of what they're saying, obviously, about the new guard and the old guard, and like in this, this orc world that they got kind of. And I think I read in the letter column of this newest issue, which we will be talking about in our first episode back in the new year. I think this is only going to be 8 issues, they said in the letter column. So the end is in sight. Like, this is going to be a nice, solid series if they don't go on forever with it. And I don't think they could with the level of art that he's been bringing and detail that he's been bringing to this book, David Finch. So Skinbreaker is my favorite new series that's come out the last few months.
Yeah, for me, like I said, it's a tough call. There's a lot of kind of new stuff, especially with Marvel. You never know how they're playing their new series that are limited series that might be pushing new series. Actually, the one just kind of came to me right now. Like you say, there's Skinbreakers. I don't know if you can call this a new series, but there's like Doctor Strange, there's the Infernal Hulk. I was almost even thinking of giving it to the Mortal Thor.
Infernal Hulk's great. Yeah. Good. That's a good pick too.
On the DC side, I can't really, I don't know if you want to call Justice League Unlimited new, but that hasn't been my favorite.
No, that's been out for a while now. That's
Yeah, but I know Black Cat qualifies there. That new run.
Yep.
And that's been a big surprise, especially for Marvel. They've been putting out a lot of kind of female-led comics that seem to be just trying to sell covers. Like talking about like Rogue Savage Land, Psylocke Magic, all great covers, but the stories just haven't really clicked with me. And with this Black Cat, I wasn't sure of the writer, wasn't sure of the artist, wasn't sure of the story. And the more I read it, it's I guess it seems to have clicked with me, and I've been enjoying that one.
Nice. Yeah, good pick. I mean, it's just been extended for more issues. It was supposed to be a miniseries first, and that's going to be a book that's going into the new year that, we've been talking about and enjoying on the show. So, yeah, good pick. All right, so that's your favorite new series. Nice. All right, next up, we got favorite underrated book, Chris. Favorite underrated book. Under the radar, so to speak, as we say.
Yeah, it's hard to say what's under the radar, but I think one comic that we've been reading that is under the radar. And when we first started reading, I wasn't too big on it, but the more we read it, the better it seems to get. I have to say the new Avengers.
Yes.
Yes. I can't think of anything else out there. Like everything else that is good is supposed to be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's my answer too. There's our first co-category there that we've agreed on here so far. Yeah, that's absolutely I've given the award in New Avengers this year. Yeah, it's just a fun book. It's a fun group of characters. The art hasn't been half bad. I think the writing's fun. The dialogue's really good. And, this is definitely one of those titles from Marvel that, I think it's going to be like 10 issues when it's all said and done. But one larger story that's still going on throughout the book. Of these clones of these characters, but it just works. The chemistry of these characters they have in the title are all people I really enjoy on a team for no good reason. And sometimes those are the best books. Marvel's really good sometimes at putting out those books, and they sometimes are the best books that they put out. And it's ones that not enough people are talking about. And I guarantee you this is one of those books right now. Like I agree. That's a fun title. So yeah, I got to give it up to New Avengers for the most under the radar, underrated book here that we've been talking about on the show. It's
New Avengers.
Yeah.
For the match.
There you go. All right. So next up, we got the next award we're giving out is favorite event of 2025, favorite comic event. You know what? I would like to give it to DCKO. You may. DCKO has been a lot of fun so far, but it's still pretty early. It's pretty early out the gate. I mean, that's, we have been getting a couple of crossover issues that are part of the event tie-in things these last couple of weeks. That definitely makes an argument for it. It's definitely my runner-up this year. I'm not a huge fan of events. Events usually aren't very good. This definitely has been fun. It could easily take 2026 when we do this award show next year, because I think we're going to get a lot more throughout the next few months, of course, that it's coming down out the pipe there. And but I got to give it up to a series that we, admittingly we mentioned here on the show that was a little long in the tooth at times, but I got to give it up to One World Under Doom. I really liked this event. I thought 2/3 of it were really good. I think if it was just maybe 6 issues instead of 9, it would have been one of the most solid events I've read. It had real reasons and real stakes, it seemed like, for what this guy wanted to go about doing. The way that the books are moving about, especially with this one shot that just came out this past week, which again, you guys will hear us talk about in our New Year show when we get back, that Will of Doom issue. Now that Zdarsky seems to kind of be, he's the one that wrote that, and like the prologue of this whole event and the things that are going to be happening moving forward into 2026 for Marvel and everything that Zdarsky's got planned. It's almost like they've given him the keys to the kingdom, I feel like, and he's going to do some like Jonathan Hickman architect type shit going on here, which I'm totally cool with. Like, it seems like some of the events and the fallout of this event it's going to be leading to some interesting things. I really am interested to see what happens in 2026. I'm very hopeful for Marvel this next year, and I hope that is the case, because everything I'm seeing That was even kind of talked about in that issue. Zdarsky's going to have a big part to play, I think, moving forward for the Marvel Universe in 2026. That was the Will of Doom one shot that came out after One World Under Doom. But I got to say, though, Ryan North, I think, did a great job. He's been writing a great Fantastic Four series as well alongside that. But I really liked his characterization of Doom. And I really liked the way that things kind of, unfolded. And I think he stuck the landing. I liked that event. It was a pretty solid event. I love Doom as a character. It was just a little long towards the end. And we talked about that on the show. That's my only criticism of it. Otherwise, I thought it was a solid event inside the books. So there you go. That's my favorite event of the year, Chris.
Yeah, for events to choose from, I don't think there were very many. There was the Will of Doom. DC, did they have something during the summer or... I don't remember anything.
No.
So I'm gonna have to give it to DC KO.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's Age of Revelation, and I don't think that's picking up any awards. Well, maybe, who knows? We'll see how it goes. But but I'm gonna give it to DC KO. I wasn't a big fan of the build-up. I'm not a big fan of the interlude story, but I am a big fan of just the fights between them. And we've seen some fun battles, and I'm looking forward to more.
Yeah, it's been really fun. I'm really looking forward to more of this moving into the new year. I mean, I can't wait till that one shot comes out with all the intercompany crossover characters coming.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Well, if it's done right, that should be crazy.
Absolutely. All right, Chris. One of your favorite categories here on the chopping block. So this is a phrase that we use on the show here, guys, in the past where we've talked about a book that's getting close to getting cut on our pull list, right? I mean, our pull list changed throughout the year. There's books that get on the pull list, that leave the pull list. Sometimes issues don't show up in the pull list. Hold on, I get some laughs going there. Thanks, guys. Listen, Chris, I got to hear what's up next for you. What book are you thinking of cutting that you've been buying? What hasn't been rising to the occasion lately?
I got to see what I have on my pull list, because I think I've cut everything that not everything that I've wanted to cut, but I've cut a lot of things. I can talk about almost pretty much every X-Men book, unless they've got a cover. They're all cut. What else? Yeah, Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's been cut for a long time. There's some ones I regret cutting. I did cut Sacrificers, but that's been a great comic, but it's just been a little slow on the draw, and I just have to kind of pull that out there. Oof. I don't know. I seem to be... Oh, yeah, whatever. The Ultimates, they had to be cut. That wasn't great.
Yeah.
This might be more of my favorite or the best comic that I've cut, and I would have to go with the Ultimates. That's... I'm pretty sure I've cut everything, and the best comic I think I've cut has been the Ultimates.
That was your favorite comic that you shouldn't have cut, you're saying? The Ultimates?
No, that I did cut. This is my favorite cut.
Oh, yes.
Not in a good way, because that Ultimates was doing so well in the beginning.
Yes.
And then it just went off the rails.
Yes, I agree. Yeah,
and I don't regret cutting any of those issues.
That's also something I cut very recently, and also something that I cut recently, which was in this category for me last year, from what I recall. I didn't have enough time this year. Sometimes I've run back some of the stats to compare. Maybe I'll save that for a segment in the new year when we get back. But it's been fun sometimes to compare what we picked year to year in these categories, right? Last year it was Wonder Woman, and this year I did cut that book. That could arguably be one, I don't know, for you as well. Maybe that's on the chopping block. I don't know, because I know we've had her up.
Well, I know. They got some stuff going on. Tom King's coming back. They still got Daniel Sempre writing.
So for me, I dropped that book this year, right? That was on my chopping block last year. Going into the new year, even though I just said all that great things about Chip Zdarsky and what I hope he has planned and the way some things are going to go, I got to say it's going to be Captain America. He really needs to step it up with his second arc, but everything I've heard about this second arc, with this whole continuity being like current continuity again, and the tie-in of that Armageddon series that he's got with him and Wolverine or whatever, and the tie-in to the Avengers, or what's it called? Weapons of Armageddon. I forgot what the hell it's called.
I think the event is Armageddon. That the prelude is that Weapons of Armageddon.
Right. So
I still don't see how he's going to freaking tie in this Captain America to this. Like it's impossible.
So the Captain America first arc out by Zdarsky wasn't bad, but it's definitely, I think, on the chopping block for me that if it doesn't pick up and get better and lead into some more interesting things, which I do have high hopes for it, it might be one that I cut because, there's a lot of books here we read digitally for the show that we just don't think is worth, picking up physical issues of. And that's probably going to be one of them unless like it really takes a turn for the better here.
I can tell you one that I haven't even read yet. It's on my pull list, but it's probably on the chopping block right off the bat. Is the Iron Man? They got what's that? Is it Joshua Williamson writing that?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's good, but it's going to have to live up to a lot of goodness.
I've also pre-ordered that. Another one, actually, you could even throw in this category where, unless you've like changed your opinion on, I think you've talked about it recently on the show as well, was the Matt Fraction Batman. Unless you've already cut that, because
I haven't cut it, but yeah, it's on there. But right. I would like say, what I talked about cutting Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
It'd have to get really bad.
Right.
And yes, I still got to give this some room.
Yeah, agreed. And that's how I feel about Captain America. But that's, like you said, there's so many things we've cut recently that's the only one I could really justify putting on in this category.
Yeah, but if they dropped off that artist, then it'd make it a lot easier to cut. I'll say that.
Jimenez, yeah.
Yeah, if they like replaced them with like Mike Hawthorne or something like that, or some of the other ones that were fill-ins.
Yeah, you didn't
the Zdarsky run. Oof, some of those were rough.
You didn't like Hawthorne at all, no. All right, so that's on the chopping block here. Next up, I got favorite character or cast of characters in the comics. I got to give it up to again. I'm just trying to recall last year. Last year might have been the Energon universe for me because I was really hype on like where we're at with the titles at that time last year. It may have been what I picked for this category. I thought about it again this year. Not that I'm not enjoying where we are right now with the Energon stuff. Again, I think they're pretty good books consistently. The fun stuff coming out of there. But this year I went with the Absolute Universe. I think that the Absolute Universe, I know for a fact it's been super successful for stores. I've seen all kinds of new fans of comics come through the door as a result of this series and the hype that it's been getting. Absolute Batman, and then Absolute Martian Manhunter was a huge book. I gotta say, just kind of seeing the different versions of the characters that people are coming up with and the directions that they took this year, and really a lot of the first titles that launched last year really kicking into high gear with their second arcs this year. Like a lot of like between the Wonder Woman and Batman and Superman, it's been a really good year for the Absolute Universe. So I'm going to give it to the Absolute Universe for my favorite characters, cast of characters in the title. Runner up though, I gotta say it was Battle Beast. I almost gave it to Battle Beast because I love the characters in that book. I love that guy, that dude, that little guy,
the prince,
the alien prince dude. I love Battle Beast and him like relationship. I love that the relationship between him and that robot that they encountered inside the ship. That's now like walking around like in a body or whatever, or it was like accompanying him, and he's got the legs and everything now. The whole relationship between the characters in that book is what makes that. I mean, Ryan Otley's art has been great too, but that's what makes that book so fun. Is like just it's just pure action and just great like exchanges between those characters. That was definitely a runner up for me that I considered. But I've just been so interested to see what's going on with the Absolute Universe stuff. I got to go with that. How about you, Chris?
Well, I don't think we're picking bigger things. I kept mine a bit more local. But just reminding the Battle Beast, that is definitely an honorable mention.
Yes.
Because I did start out that and I kind of cut it, and they're on a break right now. And when they do come back, I'm definitely jumping back on board on that. That was good stuff. And I think Battle Beast, they started all this blind bag business here.
Yeah.
It was one of the first comics that did all that sort of business.
Yeah. But
for me, I think the favorite cast, at least of characters in one book, it had to be Venom for me. Like with
good pick.
I wasn't really on board, for the first few issues when they were kind of deciding, or they kind of had everybody on the hook for who the new Venom is. But just that that exchange between Mary Jane, Paul, and Dylan, I thought was like the best stuff I read in a long time, and it was surprising to come from the writer. Like, I think it's Al Ewing writing that. That's what I think I remember him most for is the Immortal Hulk, which is I thought it was a very deep sort of very philosophical type of
It was, yeah.
comic, and to kind of come up with some, I don't want to say slapstick humor, but just some interpersonal exchanges there I thought that was just great.
Yeah, that's a great pick. That's a great pick. I mean, if I had to go on a smaller scale like you did and not cheat like I did, I would probably actually give it to Amazing Spider-Man right now. I love how the relationship between all those characters is going on right now, between Norman Osborn and what's his name, Ben Reilly, and
just the whole Spider family. I do like when they show up, and when freaking Norman Osborn just kicked the crap out of all of them.
Yeah,
and like just kind of his inner monologue is, well, these guys think they're fighting me. I've been fighting spider people all my life, and he just tosses them around like nothing.
Even J. Jonah in that book and the cast of characters that he's been dealing with in the space adventures. Yeah, if I had to go more like, I might even switch my answer to that. That's one of those books where, again, I feel like it shouldn't be working, and we've said it before here on the show, and it has been really working for me. I think the relationships of the characters in that book are what's really kind of propping it up right now from being like a not so normal, what you would expect Spider-Man book. So it's
I've been enjoying Spider-Man. It's just not where I want it to be.
That's fair. Yeah. But I mean, if we're talking about like what's going on with the characters, that's also another book I can throw in the mix there. But yeah, okay, Chris, you're up next here with what do you got here next? Favorite limited series. So any like mini series that came out this year. Favorite limited series. It's a good one.
I was almost struggling for this one. I had to look back to make sure it was part of this, but it had to be Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel bad that it's, one of these sort of alternate universe books, but yeah.
Great pick.
That's great writing, great art, great pacing. It wasn't, there's no sort of bad issue in that, even though there's only 3, but that's good stuff.
One of the best things Marvel put out this year, and that's why it was my runner-up for this category. It didn't get it, but it was.
Whoa.
You know where I'm probably going with this. All right, this is. You know where I'm going with this. I had the book handy too. I want to show it off. This is my runner-up this year. It's really between these 2 books, and these are both bangers that Marvel put out this year. And it was in the form of a limited series. And I got to go with Aliens versus Avengers for my favorite limited series that came out this year. This again, neck and neck. I could have easily went with Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell as well. So I'm glad you picked that because that was my runner-up. Both excellent miniseries that came out this year from Marvel. Both way better than I expected them to be. I mean, these were good creative teams on these books, especially this because it was an Alien book. Yeah. And right now we got the Alien Captain America book that's been coming out. It's 2 issues in. That's been great so far as well. So like I'm kind of actually very interested to see where these tie-ins go now because they've been nothing but quality so far. But this Hickman,
I think this 20th Century Fox imprint that Marvel seems to be running, that could have been in that sleeper category.
Yeah,
because this their Predator stuff, not all of it has been great, but some of it has been good. I'm enjoying the Predator versus destroys the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
the Captain America one, the second issue was. I think it was like a pick of the week for me, and if not an honorable mention or pick of the week for you as well.
Yeah.
Like they've been doing some good stuff on that sort of, and I think that's a sleeper line. Every time I see it, it's like, oh, it's, like I'm not reading any of the Star Wars stuff. There could be good stuff going there. That could be sleeping on me. We could be sleeping on that too. But I think that 20th Century Fox stuff, I might keep an eye on more of the stuff that's coming out for that.
Yeah, we've been talking about all the releases on the show for the most part lately. Like we did talk about Predator versus the Marvel Universe and even the lead ups for those. Both the Alien books so far have been excellent. Like the Captain America was, still ongoing right now. Like, but it's both issues have been great so far. So yeah, no complaints for me. You make a good point there. But yeah, it was really between those 2. There was no other limited series in the discussion. I also played with the idea of DC versus vampires because we got a couple of issues this year, but most of the series didn't come out this year. And I think we may have awarded it with something last year. So I gave it to, it was between these 2. These are some of the best things Marvel put out this year, in my opinion, was these limited series. Honestly, it was like their ongoing. Some of them have been lacking, but these were both pretty solid. So good stuff.
I think you give an honorable mention to the Punisher stuff coming out too. That's coming out right now. The Red Band and the actual, and even the Devil's Trigger.
Yeah,
that's been pretty good too.
Dan Panosian, Marvel Knights one. Those have all been solid. Yeah, these definitely were like, again, premier artists on them though, and premier writers, like really good ones. And they both were like wrapped up this year too. These other ones are still ongoing, but you're right. There's a lot of promise there. I've been enjoying all those Punisher books, so good stuff. Okay, so what do we got next here? Favorite single issue or one shot that came out this year? Always a difficult category.
This is a difficult one.
Yeah, so I have two contenders here, right down to the wire for me picking it. All right, so my favorite, my runner-up is going to come in the form of a surprise, like, read for me this year. I didn't even pick this up initially, but then I went out and bought it, and we talked about it on the show. It may have even been both of our favorite book of the week when it came out, and I remember Chris really enjoying this one too, and that's Spider-Man versus the Sinister 16. This was just a delightful, fun little book by J. Michael Straczynski. This was at the end of his one-shots that he was doing with the Marvel team-up books that he did following his Captain America run, which not all of them were great. We read a bunch of them, I think, on the show here between the two of us. We may have read all of them. But this is definitely the best one. J. Michael Straczynski still writes a really good Spider-Man, and this was just a delightful, kind of fun, unexpected treat of an issue that came out. And I went out and picked this up after I read it. Phil Noto on art on this one. Great issue for my runner-up here for my favorite one-shot that came out this year, or single issue. But I got to give it to Absolute Batman Annual #1. I mean, this was all the hype going into this book, and they delivered. Daniel Warren Johnson drawing one of the stories, James Herron doing the other one. Fantastic art throughout, great action. It was really, I mean, the fact that this book is so huge, they were able to get one of the arguably biggest artists to come in and drop in and do an issue like this. This was, again, I think this was both of our favorite book. I'm pretty certain when it came out that week, even though it was like a fifth week and one of those small weeks. Even so, this was a great issue amongst a great year of Absolute Batman. This was, in particular, definitely one that I thought of when I thought about this category. So I'll give it to Absolute Batman Annual.
Well, I was going to give it to Absolute Evil, which was a pretty good. But then once you started talking about, ones that you read and you went out to buy when you saw it, I thought you were talking about a different one shot.
Okay.
And it is a Spider-Man adjacent one. And it's the Spider-Man holiday greeting.
Oh, yes. Yes. That was great. Yeah.
Because it did some things. It made me enjoy the X-Men, where they are currently, which unfortunately I have not been enjoying. And just having Peter Parker there, where he's kind of just trying to get along with everybody at the party up in the Avengers, like the way they have him just kind of going through through the whole Marvel universe. I thought that was pretty good, and I had that one handy, and I go, yeah, I think that's going to be my pick for sure.
That's a solid pick. I like that. I forgot about that one, actually. That may have been the contender as well for me. I actually didn't pick that up. That's actually one I still have to pick up if I can find it. You reminded me. I'll have to make a note of that. Good stuff. That was a great book. All right. So next up, Chris, get into some big categories now here, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe, of course. As always, check us out here on the show, because this is outside of our norm, but these are always fun. You can also go back in our playlist, guys, and check out. We do these every year, so for the last 4 years now. So, yeah, you can go back and check out. There's about 3 other episodes if you want to look at what else we liked throughout other years. So make sure to check those out. All right, Chris, favorite Marvel book this year? Favorite Marvel book?
I think that's an easy one to pick. For me, it has to be Ultimate Spider-Man. There's nothing else that I look forward to more than that. Spider-Man's been okay. Yeah, I did enjoy, like I say, Black Cat. But otherwise, like I say, Marvel's like, there's ones I want to enjoy. Like I can say the ones that aren't good, that should be good, like Avengers, X-Men 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever they have out there. All the single character adventures. You know, the Psylocke, the Magics. Storm has been good. I did enjoy that.
Yeah, that was
But
good.
yeah, I'm gonna stick with Ultimate Spider-Man. You know, all the way. Sad to hear it's gonna end.
I'm right there with you, Chris, once again. Yeah, and we might sound like a broken record. I think this was our favorite book of the year last year as well, if I'm not mistaken. If I had to compare, I'd say we were hotter on this book last year than we've been this
Oh,
year.
definitely. Yeah.
But it's still, and this also goes to speak of like we were saying, this hasn't been a great year for Marvel. This has still been one of the most consistently great titles that they've been putting out that me and Chris have enjoyed, that we've also been giving out a lot of favorite of the year, like favorite book of the week to this year, this title. And now we just learned that they're prolonging the last issue that's going to be coming out in the middle of like Ultimate Endgame, or at the end, it seems like, because they pushed it till February. It's been a great book. I mean, I'm not concerned that Hickman's not going to stick the landing. They say he's done with the 24th and final issue, and that the Ultimate Universe is done, which I'm literally disappointed about. And they really need to step it up in the new year now, especially because this is one of the stronger things I feel like Marvel has had going for them. They said in sales this year, it was Ultimate line for Marvel, it was the Energon Universe for Image, and it was the Absolute line for DC. Those were the three kind of pillars of these companies that were really driving sales. I think with DC being the far and away winner of that, right? So, whenever somebody asks me about Marvel's best book, I always say Ultimate Spider-Man. I say pick it up now. Like, and it's easy to get into. If you want to pick up the trades, there's going to be 4 trades that are going to collect the whole series. It's great. I mean, Marco Cicchetto doing great work. David Messina being the other artist. Been 2 artists throughout the whole series. Hickman, one of the best things I think he's written in recent years, honestly. So yeah, again, no mistake. Back-to-back years, I feel like it's been our favorite Marvel book, and here we are at the end of the in this.
And I'm happy to hear that Spider-Man or Peter Parker does play a pivotal, or it seems like he's going to be playing a pivotal role in this Ultimate Endgame too. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, good, because that's been one of the best things about the book, though. I'll say as well is that it's been kind of off in its own corner, doing its own thing this whole time, right? Telling its own story. So I'm not mad at that. Maybe there's reasons why they delayed the book because of things that are going to happen in the Ultimate Endgame. I don't know, right? It's almost like they pulled the rug out from under us. I'll tell you this much: if they announce that they're doing away with the line, but for whatever reason they're going to keep Ultimate Spider-Man in the new year and maybe bring in somebody just as good, we'll see. I wouldn't be upset by it. I'll tell you that much. I'm glad that
we're looking at you.
Who? Sorry.
Honey Cates, we're looking at you.
That's been our bold prediction for a while now. Yeah, that he's going to come back. We'll see. Hope he's well. All right. So next up, we got back over to me. Favorite DC book of the year. I mean, again, it's it should come as no surprise. This is where we gotta kind of sometimes you gotta agree with the masses on certain things, right? And listen, it's Absolute Batman. It's the best book they've been putting. But again, this is a much tougher category, and I can make the argument maybe for other books that DC has been putting out. I will say that. But at the end of the day, this second year of Absolute Batman, it's been fantastic. Unlike Ultimate Spider-Man, where I'd say last year maybe outshine this year, Absolute Batman this year compared to the first arc, they didn't put out many issues last year, but whatever they put out last year, we were just like, yeah, it's good. This year has been amazing for this title. I think that second arc of the book was
that Bane arc. That's
so good.
That was just crazy. Yeah, that was
every
good.
issue. Dragotta doing great work on it. Even the guest artists that they've been bringing in have been doing great stuff on it. Snyder has big plans for it, talking about how he's going to be, moving forward for the next couple of years. So Absolute Batman is I think hands down my favorite DC book of this year. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, no, I didn't know there's any reason to talk about any other books. I have enjoyed Wonder Woman as much, but it's still been okay. I've enjoyed Superman, but it's absolute. Even Absolute Wonder Woman. I've kept that up. Absolute Superman, that was on my cut list, and it's back in business again. But Absolute Batman, yeah, there's no contest.
No, yeah, exactly. All right, there you go. Look at us, Chris. We're agreeing on a few categories this year. It's good. It's good to see. All right. Now back over to you, Chris. This is for your favorite other publisher book. So that's like Image, Darkhorse, IDW, any of the other publishers in the game here, other than the big two.
Just the favorite publisher? Oh, easily Image.
No. What book? What title?
Oh, the book. Now that's a little bit more.
Yeah. Sorry, I guess the name of I should change the name of this category because we did have favorite publisher as well. Yeah,
basically, yeah, but even still, it's still probably going to be an Image comic. And these Image comics, like, I think that's Energon Universe has sort of broken through the mainstream. I know everybody thinks Spawn and the Spawn universe is mainstream, but I don't really hear about it being talked about so much out there. But definitely G.I. Joe and Transformers have been out there, and I think the one that shines the brightest has to be Transformers.
Yeah, that's a great pick. That's definitely,
and of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles too from IDW. That was a run. I'd almost pick that run just because that run is here and it's gone, and that's it. I think Transformers is going to run for a while. I think G.I. Joe is going to run for a while. They got some big things in the books. And I don't think we're going to see anything like what happened with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What they did this year, I don't think anything's going to happen like that again for a long time.
No, and that whole series came out within this year, yeah, from Jason Aaron, right? I think he put out an issue towards the end of last year that was like teasing this series this year, and he first issue maybe came out, and he came and went within this year, and I'm really disappointed about that. That was also in my running for my favorite book from another publisher this year, was the Ninja Turtles by Jason Aaron run. Great stuff. Sacrificers was in the mix as well. Yeah. Transformers was definitely one of my runner-ups, but I got to go with the book I'm most excited for at the moment that's coming out, another Image title that's coming out that every time it comes out, I really look forward to it. And I don't know what to expect. And it's one of these things that could have went really wrong, but it really hasn't. And that's Exquisite Corpses. This is my favorite.
That's a good one too. Yeah, that's another one I forgot to talk about.
Yeah, I know we haven't even mentioned it yet. But this is another one that I always look forward to when it drops. It's been really fun to kind of see systematically the game that's being played and all these characters get taken out, and how they've been pulling off like a great through line of a story between different artists and writers that have been kind of coming on every issue. That obviously James Tynion and Michael Walsh are the creative leads of the series, and I think it's been super successful. And I can't wait till the rest of the issue, the rest of the series concludes in 2026. Yep. And from what I understand, I think this is going to be like you're going to have more installments, I'm sure, of this book because it's been super successful for them. Like different.
Yeah, I'm sure. Who knows? Maybe next time they might go to a bigger city or they're going to take over a country or something. You can see this thing has room. It has legs and it has room to grow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my favorite book from another publisher other than the big two at the moment. Exquisite Corpses, amongst a lot of really great stuff though. All right, Chris, or no, this is me now because I just said Exquisite Corpses. Okay, we're getting into the categories here, guys, where listen, we're talking about a lot of great books here today, but we're going to hit you with some things that we did enjoy this year because it's worth talking about, so you don't kind of maybe consider picking some of these things up. That's right. Bad things, guys. All right. So least favorite book of the year here. I got a few things written down for this category as well. Listen, again, I might go big with this. Let's see what I got here. Listen, Harley Quinn was my pick, I think, last year. Always a contender. This book just doesn't it should be better than it is. The only thing going for it lately, again, is like they kind of enter this area of like, I like the covers. I pick it up because Christine reads the book, and but listen, this is not a title that's been good. I'm still reading it. I don't even talk about it on the show anymore, but that's not even worth mentioning anymore. So that's off the table. Okay, it's not good. Right? It hasn't changed. I just want that to be known. Chris mentioned it earlier. Ultimates. This second year of the Ultimates has been terrible. This guy, really spinning its wheels. One of the worst books in that line of all the Ultimate titles that we're reading. Terrible. The whole X-Men line, disappointing, right? This is definitely neck and neck with this next pick, though. But that should show you how bad.
It's not the X-Men.
No,
wow.
No.
You got to hear this then.
Okay, it's not the X-Men, but you can make an argument. Maybe you'll sway me because the X-Men line, huge disappointment for me. I really hate post Krakoa has been terrible. This new X-Men
from the ashes, like right to the ground. They didn't go anywhere. They went from the ashes, like.
Even amongst all the shit, though, there's been glimpses here and there of things we've enjoyed. You mentioned Storm earlier. Maybe that's where I'll stop. but just like things here and there, I'm like, okay, that's all right. This was terrible. This was
abysmal. I think I know who you have. Maybe.
And there's reasons behind this that I gave it this title. Because this should be even called like the most disappointment of the year, essentially. Yeah. And that's got to be Hush too. I absolutely hate that they picked Zdarsky off this book for this arc that they still haven't wrapped up. They still have not wrapped up this book. We've gotten about
they made him freaking double ship.
Yes.
So they could get this on time. Like, because I believe the idea was that Hush would end by the time the new Batman started. So they go, okay, Chip, you got to double up your books here so we can start this Hush to end. And now it's what? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm shaking my head because I'm agreeing with everything you're saying. It's terrible. I'm just, go ahead. Yeah, rant, please. It's. I mean, listen, you may not have loved Zdarsky's Batman run, but the man did not. He still had plans for that title. You could tell. Like, I think that it creatively interrupted his run on the character. He wasn't really able to kind of, I think, and like complete his vision or his storyline for that run that he had going. We mostly liked his run here on the show, but even so, to kind of take over the book like they did and then give us an arc of something that pales in comparison even to the first Hush. Now, you may not even like the first Hush, but this is so much worse than the first Hush because Hush at least had Jim Lee at his peak in terms of his art, in my opinion. This is not that, and Jeff Loeb's writing is terrible. They've already had sequels to Hush that other writers have done. I don't understand why they did this. Like, it's like just to sell some books. Obviously, I'm sure they did well on sales on this one too. But what more do you need? They had the Absolute line this year. I don't know. I'm just so pissed off that Zdarsky did not get to complete his run. We have 4 or 5 issues already out of a new series of Batman, and this has not ended yet. And this took over the whole comics industry for a moment. It felt like where it's just like everyone's like, "Oh, Hush 2." Huge disappointment, and it's bad. It's not even that good. It's really bad. So yeah, Hush 2, which is I guess in Batman proper, but a Hush 2 storyline that happened in Batman proper is my least favorite book that came out this year. That whole arc has been terrible. It keeps getting progressively worse. So yeah, that's my gripe. And
that's like opening up new wounds here. What they did to Chip there.
Yeah,
I think we talked about it before. I feel that Chip was handcuffed that whole time.
Yep.
He started out great with that fail-safe. He might have had other plans. And then they got to stick in some stupid, what was that nightmare, whatever that, I forget even what it was called, but it was some summer event they had.
Yeah.
The terrors or whatever.
Yeah, night terrors. You know what, though? Thank God, because I think Chip had mentioned when he was doing that book that he might be done over at Marvel, and here he back is again over at Marvel.
Yeah. So I don't think he's ever going back to DC. Like they say, he's not Marvel exclusive, but that means I think he's going to do his own stuff. And whatever conversations he had with Marvel, I'm sure he's coming in there now with eyes wide open, saying, "Hey, if you want me doing something, let me tell you, take the handcuffs off. These are my plans. I don't want to get halfway into something and then you say, then you pulling me back."
And it looks like that is what they're doing. If you read that, if you read that Will of Doom book that just came out this past week, it looks like he has a lot of things lined up for what's coming this next year in Marvel, and I'm totally okay with that because they need it right now. And listen, I get it. Maybe they're like, listen, we have an opportunity to do a sequel to Hush, one of our biggest selling books. That's an evergreen title that we still sell copies of to this day. I understand, but this is not 2000 and whatever when they first came out with this book. Like, this is not peak Jim Lee. This, listen, and there's people that will say Hush is shit too. So listen, I'm just gonna say this. It was a bad move on their part.
Yeah.
That's why I got to give him my least favorite title this year. I hated that they did that. So do you agree, or is that what's?
I agree with you, but that's one title, like I say. But I think Avengers could be up in there.
Yeah.
That's and especially from a writer that we have enjoyed. But I still have to give it to if you want to put it all on X-Men, I'll give it to all X-Men. But if I had to bring it down to one of them, it has to be that Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah,
like that one is so hard to read, and it's full of great characters. And then even just seeing how in that Spider-Man holiday special, how you could see these characters could be enjoyable somehow with proper writing, not someone that's just worried about trying to put out accents the whole time. It has to be Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah. No, I don't.
And at least with Avengers, I think there's hope. I think Avengers is going to be rebooted again. I guess part of this Zdarsky Armageddon, but it doesn't look like there's any hope for these X-Men here. They had this Age of Revelation, and then now their new one is I forget what the title is for their next sort of run. It's not encouraging.
Yeah. No, that's my runner up. I was almost going to give it to that, and I actually thought of this prior to our recording, the Hush 2 scenario as I was going through.
Yeah, never mind that Hush is freaking late by months and months and months. Yeah. That's crazy.
Well, the good part about that is we might have a chance to put it as our least favorite book next year. We have a good opportunity to put it in our categories for next year. So.
And like I said, the Jim Lee art, there's nothing spectacular in there. It's almost like he's phoning it in. If he's going to do that, I'm expecting splash page after splash page. Him going through the whole DC universe. Just get everybody in there somehow. It started decent, but it just went off the rails quick.
His first issue was okay, and then issue...
the Joker, there those Joker piranhas. Who cares if the story doesn't matter or the story isn't working? The story is wacky. I think you had Talia al Ghul showed up. Okay, maybe it's going somewhere. Then nothing.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got Chris. You start us out for your least favorite artist this year. Least favorite
artist. I might have to go to the well. There's nobody out there there's no comics out there that I'm reading that aren't so bad. I know who did the Magic comic. I wasn't big on that. If you're ever going to have a character like that, I think you should have a good artist on it. But I have to give it to JR. He just kills me in Spider-Man. And now he hasn't been there, but every time they kind of they're going to move the story, like Spider-Man's coming back. Oh, and so is JR with this issue. It's like, what? Come on, let those guys cook. You got Ed McGuinness in there, Pepe Larraz in there. Let those guys just freaking do their thing. You go off and why don't you go talk to Mark Millar and do Kick-Ass 5 or something. And what kills me is I look back on all my old issues of stuff. JR is doing a ton of stuff that I did enjoy. He did all the Punisher stuff. He did all this X-Men stuff.
No,
I wouldn't even recognize that stuff compared to the stuff he's doing now.
No,
or at least what he was doing in the Spider-Man.
You can't. No, late 80s, 90s, JR. I love his art from that period. Thor, Daredevil, Punisher, Warzone.
Okay, that's some of my favorite. One of my favorite covers of Wolverine. He's slashing the page, and freaking lo and behold, I look in the bottom. There's a little freaking badge, JR. I'm like, how can this be?
Yeah. No, listen, he's old, right? A lot of artists, they don't get better as they grow old, or sometimes they do. It depends, right? And
I think he's just on the wrong comic. He needs a comic full of people with masks on, where he doesn't have to draw faces.
Yeah, he's not good at faces. No, I agree. Yeah. I mean, listen, I can't argue that all that much. My answer might be blasphemy to some, and I've seen people defend this fact despite the decline. If we're going to talk about older artists again that have a declining art, though, and Chris just talked about it a moment ago, and I don't want to say least favorite artist as much as I want to say most disappointment. I got to go with Jim Lee, man. I got to go with Jim Lee on this again, on Hush 2. It looks rushed in places. It looks like there's barely any detail. There's no background good stuff going on. Even like the splash pages, some of them are not up to par. Like, and again,
Yeah.
I know it's hard because we're trying to compare it to like peak Jim Lee. It's not going to be peak Jim Lee, but the amount of time that he's had to draw these issues, I feel like every subsequent issue after the first issue has looked worse and more rushed somehow. So I gotta give this award to him because I was, again, that at least I could have said, hey, Hush 2 sucks, but look at this great Jim Lee art. And
exactly, yeah.
You're not
and
getting
this is like the only thing he's writing. He went like, he planned to do this. It reminds me of this Toby Keith song. He might not have been good as he once was, but this one time he's as good as he ever was.
Right.
But it's not true.
Yeah. No, that's a good reference. I'm sure
It's taking like 3 months to put out these books.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you get a good inker or something? But who can fix that? You know what I mean? Like, this guy's the president of the company. You go in there and try and touch things up. Go, hey, why don't you try a hot chick here? That's really good for. Maybe get that Pikachu bikini out there or something. Nothing.
It's looked really stiff, and it's looked like he's uninspired, which I'm sure he is, because how many times has he drawn this shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It just not working for me, man. I wish that was the saving grace of this book. I really do, because I was looking forward to seeing some new Jim Lee art. It is an event in and of itself when he draws a book these days.
It's him drawing a book, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, let's be honest.
Look at Silvestri when he did that.
That was great.
Exactly.
I remember I went in on that, being like, I don't know about this.
I don't know. Yeah, I know what he's got.
I loved it. I thought he looked great in that 7-issue series. But again, that was something that he took his time to draw and put out. I don't know what to say about this. I don't think he's taking his time on this. I don't know. I mean, he may be doing all these other things in these.
He bit off more than he could chew. Maybe it's a good idea when he's in the board meeting, or I don't know. I don't know who's forcing him to do this. Like, he must have put this up on himself.
I mean,
like, nobody's asking for Hush 2.
Even everyone's already even talking shit about that Spider-Man cover that he's doing for the Spider-Man Superman issue, right? And how awkward he looks on it, right? So anyway,
yeah, that's an awkward head, like not a freaking awkward 5 issues.
No, I know. I just had to throw that in there. I know we were talking about it recently, so yeah, okay. So I got to go with least favorite artist, not of like all time or anything. I love a lot of Jim Lee's older work. It's just, yeah, he did very disappointing this year what he did on that book.
Yeah.
All right, so then finally we got least favorite writer for some of our least favorite stuff here. And listen, I'm not going to make this a triple play. I'm not going to make this a hat trick and say Jeff Loeb. He is in the running for this, though. He is in the running for this as for my least favorite writer this year, for Hush 2. But I don't read enough by him to really like bag on him. Like that Apocalypse thing he's doing, I don't care about that. And that other Last Halloween he was doing also wasn't great. But again, I didn't read many of those issues to really be like, this is my least favorite writer. I could also, Dennis Camp was also in the running. He's the writer of the Ultimates. But again, he had a very good year because he also wrote Absolute Martian Manhunter. Now, I don't love that book as much as everybody else does, but clearly he has a hit on his hands when it comes to that book. So I'm not going to give the award to him. What's that?
I don't know how. Like, I've read he also has this Assorted Crisis events out from Image. Everybody seems to love that. I think
people like that.
I read one issue. Like,
sometimes certain writers aren't for you, right? Like I read Absolute Martian Man. It was fine. I read the trade I told you after we stopped talking about it on the show. It was good. It wasn't great. Like, I don't think it's the best thing out, like a lot of people were stating this year. If you look at a lot of best of lists this year, guys, you're going to see that book all over the place. I guarantee it. But we're just being honest to ourselves here on this show. I'm not going to pick everything that, everyone else likes. But for my least favorite writer, for reasons stated on the show already, and this hurts me, I got to go with Jed McKay this year. This is, I swear, if it wasn't last year, it was the year before. I think we gave him, or at least I did, my favorite writer that year, because I think last year was Hickman. Maybe the year before is Jed McKay. He was definitely in the running if we never gave the award, because I thought his output was very good for Marvel for a period of time. And some of the other books I don't read by him that I read in collected edition, like Moon Knight and stuff, maybe those books are good still. I don't know, because I usually read them in like trade when they come out. But the things, but just between the Avengers and the X-Men line of books, which we haven't been digging at all on the show yet, we continue to try them out and read them on the show and try to give them a fair.
Come over to a variant cover. Okay, well, I bought the cover. Might as well read it. Like,
Right.
They're good.
For that reason, though, the man is not good at team books. We've talked about it on the show. I like Jed McKay. I think he's done a lot of great things. This is one of his worst years for Marvel, and this is when he kind of took a step up in terms of like, this is one of our head writers.
Yeah, this is time to shine. We're giving you, like, they almost gave him the keys. They gave him the keys to the 2 top titles that he did have to bring back from the dead, let's say. Avengers hasn't been great. Or Avengers, I don't know, that their last run was okay near the end.
Again, I'll just say this was just a very big disappointment, and that's why I'm giving him the award. I think this has been a bad follow-up year for a writer I generally like, and I'll still check out future books from, but I just think he's not good at he bit off more than he can chew, I think, with these team books. I think he's very good at writing. Like, I love his Black Cat series. I think his Moon Knight, everything I've read from him is great. His Doctor Strange series was great. These are books I really like from him, but those are all like B, C-list characters. I think when he's like Avengers, X-Men, I don't know, man, if you're the guy for those books. Sorry, those are hard gigs. I get it.
Like Twilight Court, that's brutal. And that Action Combine.
Yeah. There's been some bad stuff. There's been some bad stuff. So I got to give it to him because he's my least favorite writer this year, surprisingly, after such good, I think, last couple of years, honestly. So,
yeah. Well, I think I might have touched on it earlier of one of the comics who, the writer of the Uncanny X-Men, I believe it's Gail Simone.
It is, yeah.
Oh, that writing. It's like maybe the story's decent or it could be something, but just the way she writes Gambit and Rogue. And then, then even you're throwing in freaking Nightcrawler and even Wolverine, they try and give him a Canadian accent. They got Nightcrawler trying to speak, everything has to be sort of have that German twang to it. And then whatever. And the Rogue just drives me up the wall. I can't even read it. It's like I'm freaking reading Zatanna where everything is backwards somehow. I got to freaking translate it in my mind. And it continued on and all the, like in that Revelation stuff, whenever she was writing something, it's like, just hits me right again in the head. And, I've seen her online and she seems like a nice person, seems to like comics, but
yes,
geez Louise, like, where's the editor? Someone's got to rein her in.
It's funny though. You mentioned, no, she is. She's cool from her online presence. She has a lot of fans. But I'm also not, I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of hers either. I have liked things that she's done in the past. Like she's had good runs on certain books, but not everything. She doesn't have a voice for everything, like you're saying. Uncanny X-Men, I think, has been, I also don't like her writing on that book. I dropped it a while ago, right? So I agree with you. Yeah, I don't think I got a good voice for the X-Men. She seemed very hyped about it. Like she was like, oh yeah, I can't believe I'm writing an X-Men book. But yeah.
Like these outliers might become something, but someone else is going to have to come in there and take them over.
Yeah. No, she's had good runs. Wonder Woman, she had a good run. Birds of Prey. She's written actually one of my favorite books she ever wrote, actually, Secret Six. I have both the omnibus on my shelf right here. I love that book. But that was like it's like a villains team, essentially, like a Suicide Squad. So she's written good things. This is not one of them. So yeah, I
Russian in there that's speaking Russian all the time.
Chris, I just loved you breaking down the book and doing your impersonation of Gambit. I'm much or whatever.
That's brutal.
No, it was great stuff. Your impersonation of him, that one. The book, no, not so much. All right, so that's gonna do it for least favorite writer. And that's it for our negative categories. We got a few more here, 3 more. It looks like to bring it home. The big ones here. All right, Chris. Favorite artist of the year.
This is an easy slam dunk for me. It's Carrie Andrews. And what freaking sold me was when he had Wolverine fighting Spider-Man. I've seen heroes battle each other. I've seen Thor fight Hulk. I've seen great artists do that. But that issue was just freaking unhinged. And, and I just that alone. And then, he's just kept that sauce on all the way through with this Spider-Man and Wolverine. I don't know if it's an ongoing or if it's over. But I hope he continues on it or whatever they got him going on to. I hope it's in Marvel, and whatever he touches, I'm all over it.
Great pick, Chris. Great pick. Yeah, we love Carrie Andrews on this show. So here's the honorable mentions here because this is always one of the hardest categories for me. at least in terms of the talent pool that exists in comics.
Well, yeah, if you want to go on, bro, I can go on with mentions too.
Go ahead. You want to shout out anybody
out? You got to give it to freaking Absolute Batman.
Nick Dragana.
Dan Mora, like there's artists like Dan Mora, Jorge Jimenez. I feel like those are the standards of DC, and that's where everybody should be. And then if somebody steps up above that, I don't know how they do it in DC, but for Marvel, like I don't mind that Pepe Larraz, Ed McGuinness. Like those are some great artists there. That Gleb Malnikov or Malkinov, that's been doing it. Dan Panosian. Those are some covers. Yeah, that I've been. I'm excited to see what he does when he gets into an issue. But definitely Carrie Andrews just far enough, up and away.
Absolutely. The ones that you had mentioned, I'll also add, obviously DWJ, which we've talked about on the show already. Steve McNiven with his Daredevil Cold Day in Hell series this year. You said Nick Dragana on Absolute Batman. Juan Ferreira for his work on Ninja Turtles this year with Jason Aaron. Just amazing work. That was honestly probably the closest to taking this category for me, but did it.
They should have had him just through the whole freaking 12. None of this gimmicky stuff, the first 4 issues with 4 different artists.
Yeah, good artists on those, but I agree with you. He should have been the artist throughout the whole.
Yeah, like if this was going to be a 12-issue run for it, maybe they just didn't know at the time.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, because he was the ongoing artist. Everything after issue 5 was him or whatever, right? Like the same artist.
And I felt that's when that series really
amazing layouts. Oh yeah, great.
The Ryan Otley too for a freaking.
I was just about to say him. Yeah. That Ryan Otley
and Nick Klein too. Jeez, you can't forget him.
Nick Klein on Hulk. I mean, yeah. Even though we
kind of the series before where it was bad, it was still good art there.
Exactly. That was my biggest disappointment that I wasn't reading that series because of the art. David Finch, as I mentioned on Skinbreaker earlier, doing the work of his career on that. Right? Yeah, Ryan Otley. But ultimately, Chris, I'm right there with you, buddy. It's Carrie Andrews for my favorite. And it's because of this book. It's because he was able to kind of recapture the love of 90s comics in his artwork style and elevate a book that's a subpar book to another degree entirely, where we're just like, yeah, the story's fine, but yeah, the art is where it's at on this title. And Carrie Andrews is like, he's taking all the greatness of the 90s and kind of putting his own style. And the great thing about Carrie Andrews too is that he has multiple styles. So like his current style is like one of my favorite that I've seen, but I've seen other styles of his evolve over the years. And this is just like such a sweet spot, his artwork on this title. I even checked, Chris, the last issue of Spider-Man Reign 2 even came out at the start of this year. So we had an issue from that came out this year from him, as well as all the covers that he did this year. Like you said, there was all the Rogue Savage Land covers that he did variants for. We even seen him pop up more recently in the Marvel holiday special for winter. He's got a nice pinup in that book. You know what I mean? This guy's...
That's the only reason I bought that. I read that online. I and my Marvel hasn't been kind of coming in. And then, I went out to a comic shop over the weekend. They had it there. Like, oh, fine. I got to get this. I can't believe that Carrie Andrews picture. I think that was on like a double size. Like I saw him do the original art for it. He had to post it somewhere.
Okay.
So like that picture must be like freaking just huge.
Probably.
It's like almost on a piece of Bristol board or something like that. And they freaking just shrink it down there. It's crazy.
I hope he comes to a con near us at some point again, because this guy is a really nice guy to meet. I met him years ago, and I wasn't on the level of a fan that I am now of his stuff. So like, I really hope he comes back because, great artist. So yeah, Carrie Andrews for me as well. Wow, that's a surprise. Like, I'm not surprised because I know how much we both like him this year, but like, just it's such a crazy category that we both picked the same artist.
I thought you were going to give it to Nick Dragana in Absolute Batman, so I didn't want to say too much.
He was there too. He was right there, and like I said, Juan Ferreira. I love the work that he did on the Ninja Turtles book this year. But Dragana was there too for me. I love Dragana, but Carrie Andrews just. Such a that book was just such a great melding of the 90s style, like McFarlane-esque Spider-Man. Like as soon as he did that, I was just like, that's it for me. Like that's my favorite Spider-Man, right? That's why I fell in love with the character to begin with when I was young, right? So that's in comics. So you gotta give it up to him. All right, favorite writer.
Ooh, this one's tough.
this is not that great of a category for me this year because like I feel like out of like unlike other years, like when I feel like maybe it was last year, we like certain people have had runs where they're writing like 3-4 consecutively good books sometimes that come out in a year, like Hickman when he came back to Marvel, or even like Jed McKay when he started getting more books, and a couple years back. This year, I don't think there's any clear person that ran away with it for me. So I'm just going to give it to one of my favorite books, the writer of one of my favorite books that came out this year. And I'm going to give it to Scott Snyder, which I'm surprised about because, he did write Absolute Batman, which was one of my favorite DC book. As I mentioned, one of my favorite books that came out this year. And I gotta say though, Scott Snyder, after he left DC and came back recently, it's almost like the same thing that Hickman did. He came back with a new enthusiasm and as a better writer, I felt like when he left and came back. He went off and did his creator-owned books, some which I talked about here on the show for a while. And when he came back to DC and he started doing Absolute Batman, I'm like, oh, here we go. And he's gonna write a Batman book again. He's written so many Batman books. I really was like, whatever about it. But, listen, it's been a huge hit. I can't deny that I feel like he's grown as a writer. And for that reason alone, I think I'm going to just give him the award this year. Not that he ran away with it, because that's the only really, and he's started off writing DCKO as well. Like he has big plans for that too. And that's been solid so far. But otherwise, like I'm really just giving it for that book. Like sometimes it's quality over quantity, but I just feel like in other years, you can make an argument that writers have written multiple really good books that I liked. And I can't really pinpoint that to be the case this year, at least with a lot of the stuff that we've been reading. It's been like, a lot of people have been writing a lot of good things, but not to the point where I can see someone, at least for me, run away with this award. I'm going to give it to Scott Snyder this year. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, this writer's hard for me to kind of pin on one person. I think Mark Waid, he's got they kind of gave him the keys to the DC universe. I think he's been doing okay with it, but it's not my favorite. I enjoyed him more when he was just kind of tucked away in World's Finest. And I don't know if it's too early to give it to Rob Kirkman for what he plans on doing with the Energon universe. But if he's kind of like the architect that seems to be the mastermind behind that Energon universe, and had some say as to how G.I. Joe was going to sort of run and how Transformers running, while doing Void Rivals, and he does Battle Beast as well, right?
He does. He actually was someone I did think of when you were talking about like multiple titles. I just, I ultimately didn't go with him, but that's a good contender for sure. You're gonna go with him?
I'm still on the fence here.
Yeah,
I'd like to give it to Hickman. If he was only doing Ultimate Spider-Man, and he was just more of just not so much of the architect. I don't like his architect business. It was good for Absolute for Ultimate Spider-Man because it was a great ongoing, but with his where he wants to be the architect of with the cosmos or the cosmic sort of Marvel side of the universe.
Well,
that wasn't great.
It was fine, but yeah, I agree. It wasn't great.
But whatever tree he built, it's those branches. I think they're all going to wither and die. Like I don't really see anything coming out of that. Like She-Hulk might last for 5, 6 issues, 10 issues, and right. I don't know where anything else is going with that.
It did have issues of Aliens versus Avengers and Ultimate Spider-Man come out this year, though, on top of Imperial, right? I mean, that's.
Yeah, I'm still thinking Alien versus Avengers last year.
It started last year. It ended this year. It counts. I think it started last year, though. You're right about that, but I believe it ended. I think only the first issue had come out when we recorded last year, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we might have to give it to. Is it Jeff Johns? Is he the one that's writing Geiger?
Yeah.
What else is he up to?
He wrote Hyde Street as well.
If he's doing Hyde Street. If he's doing Geiger, I'm not sure if he's doing that Red Coat. Like if he's part of that,
and
that imprint is all him over there. That Rook Exodus, if that's all him,
that's him.
Yeah, it's got to be him. Like that Geiger, I've been enjoying that. Hyde Street, I've been enjoying that. That Sisterhood run he put out, and and he's just writing stuff sort of in his own universe.
He didn't
it's not sort of taking old ideas and I think Ultimate Spider-Man, of course, you're playing the hits there. You're putting Peter Parker and MJ together, what everybody wants to see. You got a Batman out there that's freaking just going absolute crazy. Everybody wants to see that. That's kind of, I don't want to say they're picking the low hanging fruit, but they're doing awesome things with that low hanging fruit. And I think Jeff Johns is sort of he's building his own tree there, with some solid branches.
I actually didn't even think of him. That's a great pick, though, because like you said, like I just mentioned about Scott Snyder going off and coming back to DC, reinvigorated from his creator own. Jeff Johns has done the opposite, where he's been at DC for like 20 years, and him going off and doing creator own comics for the first time. Those have been great books. Yeah,
I don't see him coming back.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, I think he's going to be so successful on his own.
Yeah.
Like, for him to come back, I don't think they can afford him to come back. Unless he's got a passion to write something. He had one story that he always was pushing, and they would never let him write it. And now he can come back, like, once again, handcuffs off. You're giving me the keys to whatever I want to do for forever, how long I want to do it. Maybe that could be something to entice him back, but I can't see it.
Right. Yeah, that's a good pick, actually. I didn't even think about that. Great pick. I just checked. Issues 3 and 4 came out this year of Aliens vs. Avengers. I still stand by my favorite limited series. It counts. Issues came out this year. But thank you for pointing that out, though. You're like, I'm pretty sure that's last year. I thought only issue 1 came out, but apparently 2 issues came out last year. The second one came out in November. So, all right. And then finally, guys, are good pick on Dronzo. That's a good one. And then finally, favorite ongoing series / book of the year, Chris, your favorite book overall. Forget all these other categories. It could have even appeared in one of these categories already. What was your favorite book of the year, Chris, to see us out here for the our 4th annual award show, guys?
I'm torn. I'm giving it to Ultimate Spider-Man. Screw Absolute Batman. I can give it to the next year. I think it's going to be cooking next year too. But yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man. It's going. It's gone. It's a travesty. It's a miscarriage of justice. The shot to the solar plexus. What they said that was going to be a ending.
It really was. It really was. Oh man, Chris, I'm gonna part ways on this one, and I'll take up what you dropped, and I'll pick up what you dropped there, and I'll say Absolute Batman is my favorite title this year. It was between Ultimate Spider-Man and Absolute Batman, and I gave it to last year, back-to-back years. That's for you. It's your favorite book.
I know. Wow.
No, that's fine, and it was definitely there, neck and neck with me for this year as well. But I'm gonna give it to Absolute Batman just because I feel like this has been quite the year for it. And I'd be lying to myself if I didn't give it to this. But Ultimate Spider-Man, another fantastic year as well. So I don't blame you taking that as well. So there you go, guys. That's our favorite ongoing series / book of the year. Ultimate Spider-Man and Absolute Batman, which, are books that have been talked about quite a bit amongst fans this year. It should come as no surprise, but sometimes there's a reason for it, right? I mean, those are really good books coming out from the big two, and I think both of them are represented there, right? Marvel and DC. So there you go.
I think it's sad that they're both sort of like a what if universe. They're alternate universes. There should be something that's canon, that's running.
Yeah.
I wish it could be Spider-Man. I wish it could be Avengers. I wish it could be Superman.
Batman.
I was like, Wonder Woman. That's in the running for me, even though I didn't enjoy that mouse freaking thing. Tom King is a great writer. The stuff he's doing with the Trinity, we've all enjoyed, and I have enjoyed that Wonder Woman run. I was looking through all those issues there. That's some good stuff when you look back at it, but you go issue by issue, it's like, woof, so slow.
Yeah, that's why I definitely a slow burn.
And then writers that are missing, we could talk about that. Like Tom Taylor, I don't know what he's doing. Sean Murphy, I don't know what he's doing.
He's doing detective. Tom Taylor's doing detective right now, though. But he's not. Last year, I mean, it's not like his follow-up years where he was doing like Deceased and Nightwing. But that's the thing. I feel like sometimes there's a change of the guard, or there's guys that are getting ready to write certain things, and they're taking some time to build up a series or something, right? So, I think that's what you're seeing right now. There's a transitionary period right now of where next year we may not be talking about these. We're definitely probably not talking about Ultimate Spider-Man next year.
I don't have a great writer to talk about here, but what happened to Zeb Wells? Like, he dropped off Spider-Man and he dropped out of Marvel. Like, he's not writing for Marvel. He's not writing anything in Marvel.
No.
Like, couldn't they give him one of these freaking Psylocke stories or one of these ex-women stories or something? You know, it wasn't that bad.
Well, I don't know. You ask a lot of fans, they will say it was.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't a great Spider-Man run, but I think he was forced to do a lot of bad things in there.
Yeah. No, you're right. And Sean Murphy, he's been kind of quiet this year. Like you said, like he keeps promising that he's working on stuff. He's going to come back with his final chapter of the White Knight universe. Maybe next year it might happen. Yeah. Right? So, there's a lot of opportunities still to be had in 2026. I mean, although I will say, we've been talking about solicit videos lately, guys, and make sure to check those out in the feed. We're already on to March. Not a lot of change there so far. So I don't know what to say.
I'm looking forward to that Scotty Young and Jorge Corona too. That's somebody we haven't mentioned throughout this whole thing. He needs to be mentioned. I think he's stepping into the spotlight today or this year. And I think he's been rewarded with Lobo, with a great writer. I hope they don't drop the ball on that. And for DC, this next level that they're calling it, that is not encouraging, but hopefully they're PR people. I don't know, whoever came up with that next level.
Right.
That's not great, but hopefully it's going to be backed up by some solid books.
Yeah, agreed. And if you guys want to hear us talk about this next year of comics moving into 2026, make sure to check us out weekly. Me and Chris here, talking about week in, week out, what we've read and what we've enjoyed throughout the year. Make sure to like and subscribe. And thank you all for tuning in for the 4th annual Comic Shop Talk Awards, everybody. That's right. Thank you once again for another great year of comics, Chris. This is a lot of fun. I always look forward to these episodes, and it's always crunch time here at the end to be able to kind of put these categories together and figure out what we wanted to present here. But I think we did a good job, and we agreed on a lot this year. We hated on a lot this year.
We could spend a whole issue, a whole series, or a whole episode here on what we hate.
But yeah, this was a lot of fun, though. It was a good discussion as always, guys. So yeah, make sure to tune in and make sure you're subscribed to follow us weekly, and hit us up in the comments if you so choose. Let us know what some of your favorite things that you read this year were. And we'll catch you here in the new year for our first episode back, episode 211, where me and Chris will be talking about the last 2 weeks of comics that came out for December of 2025. Make sure to tune in for that when we return. And Chris, thank you once again. Thank you for, taking this seriously, bringing your best. We have
to roll out the red carpet. We have some entrances next year or something.
That's right.
We'll try and get together and do this.
Yeah, absolutely. That was fun.
Time this year.
That was fun. Yeah, I know. Just, it was pretty busy at the end of the year for us this year, so we weren't able to do it. But maybe in the new year, you'll see us again in person once again at some point. So that's always fun, too. All right, everybody, make sure to tune in. And as I mentioned, like and subscribe. And thank you once again. 4th annual Comic Shop Talk Awards. All right, Chris, thank you. And we'll see you guys next time on Comic Shop Talk. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.